Let's stand for the flag salute, please. Kelly, would you like to lead us in the flag salute tonight?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome. It's a shock. This is the last meeting and school starts, like in just a few days. So it's quite a surprise to have the August meeting and realize that it really emphasizes that school's starting very soon. It is. And if you've had a chance to walk around, there's just a lot of improvements that have been made. It's gonna be pretty exciting. So does anyone have any announcements? I sent out to the board members the Kelly's newsletter, so it has some dates in it. Back to school night, the K through 2 teacher, where just the parents of the kids going to K through 2 can come meet the new teacher and other things. So if anybody has any questions on those announcements, I don't think there's anything that wasn't in there.
I hope not.
Yeah, I gotta just kind of let you know that, so I got 6 grandkids at the house. One of them has 102.7 temperature. So if the wife has to take that kid to the hospital, she's gonna call me and I'm gonna have to.
Okay. We certainly understand that.
Yeah.
If it was me, you'd have already have me to the hospital, but kids, they tolerate those temperatures a little more. Gary, I don't blame you one bit. I go sit down and relax. So, any other announcements anybody can think of? The bus schedule's out, all that kind of stuff is all out now for everyone, so. All right, let's move on to approval of the agenda. Does anyone have any corrections or additions to the agenda or questions on the agenda?
Well, only that the review of minutes from the previous budget workshop, it wasn't just a budget workshop.
It actually was the public hearing.
Well, but we had them.
It was both.
Oh, and
It was both.
Yeah.
It was a public hearing and our,
And
and our regular
and a
meeting.
In
regular
the
meeting.
regular meeting,
Yeah.
right?
But it's not a big thing.
So
but
I guess
still,
what
you
I
know.
will do is quickly turn to those minutes. Public budget hearing.
It says. let's see. It says regular meeting minutes. So
So the public hearing was,
in the regular meeting minutes.
and, does anyone have any objections, or do you think that you want separate minutes for the public hearing itself? Normally, we adjourn to the public hearing, and when the public hearing is over, we adjourn out. This is written as if we made a decision during the public hearing. Well,
We did.
it could be interpreted that way.
I think we kept it as a kind of a single meeting,
Mhm.
so I think the minutes reflect it. I think the only thing Diane's saying is. It should say review of minutes in previous
We just strike,
Workshop and.
budget workshop.
And
should we just strike from previous budget workshop on?
Yeah, and just say previous regular meeting. Cause it was our regular meeting and our regular meeting included the budget hearing.
Or just say July 21st.
Review of minutes
And
from
not have
July
to worry about a
21st.
title.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what
Would that-
even
would that
better,
be
because
fine?
then you could
Yeah.
pick
just-
up some bowls.
Yeah,
If we just
for meeting
strike
on July
previous
21st.
Budget workshop
that
on.
works. Yeah.
All right, and I think the minutes with the A, B, and C sections make everything pretty clear there, so. Okay, any other comments on the agenda?
Jessica, do you have the electronic version of the minutes added up? Because I linked something into it at the last. I do. I thought that would be the easiest place to get it. heard. We won't need it yet, but just so that you're prepared. I know it's bring that on you when we get to that part.
In the minutes or the agenda?
In the agenda. I added the enrollment report PDF.
Okay, are we all set for, anyone,
So moved.
feel comfortable? Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion on the agenda? Okay, all in favor of approving the agenda as modified on consent agenda item A, say yes, yay, yay, aye.
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 Yeah.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you all. The next thing on our agenda is concurrence and approval of the educational reimbursement program for our superintendent. I sent that out to you for your review, which had highlighted the changes. So does anyone have any questions on that or comments or suggested different changes?
I haven't looked at it,
Oh, that's okay. Let's see. I didn't make copies for everyone, but here's the one with the two changes. I think it's page 2 and 4, or they're in red.
and. Okay. And then I cross out. The cross out right here, and then the red change on this.
Yep, those are the only two things that,
That makes sense to me.
yeah, Curtis's recommendations, were 4 of them. One of them was fine. The other one we didn't take any action on, so. All right, Kelly, do you have any questions on it? Comments?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve? As presented?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, is
Approve that, right?
there a second?
Whole
second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to, it's written as concur and approve because we did approve it at the last meeting with the changes. And so this is concurring that the changes we approved were added. So it's concur and approve the agreement of Millay School District with Kelly Stickle Superintendent for an educational assistance program. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, so this will go into the signature file, so when it goes around, because it's written for all directors to sign. So I'll add that to our folder for signature when things move around, when we get to that point.
And we're doing that now because we'll have something in the AP.
Yeah,
Right.
next on is the consent agenda, but
Okay.
then all the documents
No, I understand.
oh, okay.
I meant we're doing that now because there's
Yeah,
transactions in the
correct,
AP.
exactly.
Got it.
Yes, and that's, we kind of planned that at the last meeting
we did,
because we
yeah.
didn't want to have a special meeting.
Yep.
To address that. So under the consent agenda, we have the minutes. Did any corrections or additions to that, to the minutes? It's the first item under the consent agenda tab.
Good.
The AP vouchers you will find as the first item under the AP/payroll tab. AP vouchers totaling in $35,068.57. Beyond that is our warrant vouchers, which are the payroll taxes and things like that for payroll in $159,531.31. And then we also have the payroll itself in the amount of $119,689.32, which are payroll checks themselves. So please feel free to take your time to review those warrants and vouchers. Think there might have been a couple of questions on the vouchers. Let me see here. Who, did we buy tires for the bus?
We did buy tires.
Is that,
$4,000 worth of tires. I figured that must be bus tires.
Yeah, Barbie does a really good job of making sure that all of our vehicles are
Oh, she does, doesn't she?
student ready.
which,
We have a few of our ESD contracts on there. We have the educational reimbursement. Then we have our credit card for postage and dumpster and all that kind of stuff.
is that 1 month or 2 for the power?
It's monthly.
Yeah, it's not bi-monthly anymore.
Well, I think it is for households. Well, maybe it isn't. No, it isn't.
I think it is.
No, it's,
I think
it's
it's
monthly for everybody,
yeah.
isn't it? Yeah,
Now they have the
yeah.
net metering or the.
Well, I think
But
it
it
used
used to be for that.
to be
Okay,
households were bi-monthly and, but like school was not.
That's just,
But that, is that a lot? Is that?
I don't
know.
1,048? Is that abnormal for this?
I am gonna just be really honest and say, I don't know that I have tracked it closely enough to tell you, but I can get that historical information and find out.
do we air condition the 70 all summer long when the building's empty, or what do we do?
Well, we didn't have working air conditioning most of the summer, so we did in fact not air condition. You do now.
So that does
Um,
seem high, that. I mean,
So
it seems like it might.
I will tell you with the amount of work that's happened in the building, someone has been here
The whole time?
almost 15 hours per day.
Okay,
Between those of us who come in early and those.
Well,
who
maybe
stay.
equipment and polishing the
But
floors and
we've
stuff
had-
like that might.
The building has been occupied
okay,
probably more hours over the summer than it will be during the school year with all the work that has
Okay.
gotten done. Yeah.
well then, I was thinking for an empty building. but-
It was
wasn't
definitely
empty.
not empty. I think, we've had some really awesome people volunteering their time. Almost every single day this summer, as you can tell by this space.
Yeah,
So Walt Nelson, is he a new substitute for us? For custodial work?
It's on the last page.
Thank you, Walt Nelson. It's just a check, so it's not a payroll thing. So we must, maybe
Well,
we
it's
have
actually two,
It must be for,
the same date.
the same date, but there's two different amounts.
Maybe it's some sort of supplies,
Could be.
it could
Oh,
be,
that
I
could
think
be.
it is. We,
Well, that's probably
yeah,
more likely, isn't it? Yeah.
just
Walter Nelson is cleaning supplies.
thank you.
who is it?
It's the same vendor we use to work. They're a cleaning supply vendor, like for
Oh,
the
okay.
paper and.
janitorial equipment supplier in Portland.
Alright. Oh, thank you. It's a new name, haven't seen it before.
Yeah, I don't have any more questions.
I have a question on payroll. The Washington CARES Act is mandatory. Is it mandatory for all employees or there's certain situations where some employees don't have to?
I am not sure.
Okay.
I will add that to the list of things to find out.
Okay, anybody
Jody
else?
handles all of that, so she would be.
Anybody have any questions on payroll or vouchers? Any further questions? All right, then we would entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
Oh, second.
Been moved and seconded to accept the items under the consent agenda as discussed. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. Let's go on to public comment. Thank you for coming. And do we have anyone online tonight? I don't see anybody up there. Any public comment or questions or anything? All right, well, you'll get another chance, so if I got something, it's okay. Let's go on then to reports. Let's start with the budget report. Is this the final year in?
Well,
Well, this is July, so in August.
Oh, it's July, okay. Yep, one more month.
The books are basically closed for the year, but the reporting is,
we just won't get it until
Right.
September. maybe.
yeah, it's behind. Yeah, the reporting's a month behind, so.
And the
But
percentage
everything's-
is
I know.
what's right on, so, you know, I mean.
So for the public out there, at 11 months, we are at the 87.81% of our budget for revenue. And at 86.20% of our budget for expenditures. And we don't have any anticipated significant changes, do we, for this next month? And August should be pretty
August should be pretty,
Normal?
yeah, pretty normal.
Are we expecting revenues to come in like, it seems like August is always like a little bit more.
So the
revenue.
apportionment is higher in the summer. It's like 12, it's very bizarre
Yeah.
the way they do it. So, yeah,
Which
that's
is
part
like-
of why. So if you remember last month when we were looking at June,
Yeah,
we were inverted just slightly
and now we're not,
and now we're not.
yeah.
And so, I don't expect anything major to change when August comes out. We did, with the tuition assistance, we did make sure that hit in August. Because there was capacity for it. I mean, it shouldn't be a significant, it shouldn't bump us
Right.
either way, but we're gonna be right there. So, cause the apportionment is higher in the months of July and August.
The student body looks great. A good place to start a new year.
Summer months are pretty calm for the budget status report.
Mhm.
Well, anybody have any questions on the budget report? All right, let's move on to the superintendent's report.
Okay, Jessica, do you mind pulling up the link that I added on enrollment report? So this was not linked, earlier, because we were still waiting on a couple of final things that came in today. And I wanted to make sure it was as accurate as possible. So you can see the K-1-2 is in the dark blue, and then third, fourth, and fifth grade are in yellow, 6, 7, 8 are in dark blue, and then PCIA is in the gray. So, our total middle A school enrollment is 41. We have 15 in middle school, 15 students in our middle school, 15 students in our 3-5, and 11 students in K2. We actually have a couple of in-district kindergartners that registered later into the summer, which pushed us over the 40, but we're very excited for that. So we have two classes that are definitely larger than some of the others. And so I'll work closely with the teachers on what that will look like in the blend. So for middle school, we've got our 8th graders coming out of the classroom more often this year, which will really help balance out Jennifer's time. For PCIA, I'm very excited to say we almost hit our goal of freshmen. Still have a few days to make it, but we currently have 8 incoming 9th graders. And then 1 new incoming senior, and then a sophomore who's returning. So
Cool, how was that compared to last year?
we had 24 last year, so we have a couple of students who didn't graduate but won't be returning for different reasons around athletics and some opportunities that were too good to pass up after all of the coursework they had already taken. So our hope is to continue to roll in new classes of about 10 every year, because sometimes as students get older, they decide that there are other options for them that align better with like their family life and things like that. So I think we're off to a really good start. We have freshman orientation or new student orientation coming in on this Friday. So all of those new students will have a chance to come and meet the instructors. And I'll tell you more about that in my superintendent report, but 61 students to start the year, which is just shy of what the target was, but I'm feeling really optimistic about the balance.
Just out of curiosity, you have a rough idea of the percentage of the elementary school in district versus out of district? Does that pretty well stay steady, or does it go up and down, or?
I don't know the historical number off the top of my head well enough, and I haven't looked at it yet for 25-26. So I feel like I would be out of turn to comment, but I can definitely get that number for you.
Yeah.
It had been fairly steady over like historical, but I just am not confident enough in the number without looking at it. Any questions on fall enrollment? Pretty straightforward. Thanks, Jessica. And then the next item is a presentation that Anita had asked me to put together to talk about like the board retreat and the board self-assessment. I did share the links in the agenda previously. I updated it a little bit today. But I think it's really important to kind of just remind ourselves and the public of the importance of board retreats and why we would want to do them. We're up online as well.
We had discussed this briefly because we have we're obligated to do a self-assessment. And, you know, the opportunity for us to take advantage of learning just isn't there. I checked the annual meeting cost. It's just very prohibitive. Very prohibitive for.
The WASDAs.
Yeah, it's, you know, and I usually go and it's just, I'm not paying that money. It's just awful.
I went through and I looked at some different resources and put together hopefully a brief presentation that will kind of clarify the reason that we would want to have a retreat and the benefits of doing so. So just kind of our roles, responsibilities, and reflection. So the reason that a board would need a retreat is it gives us, you know, some dedicated time, helps us build teamwork, but also really getting that strategic alignment to make sure that from the board all the way through, we have the same mission, vision, and goal around student outcomes. The more aligned we are in those things, the better we can write policy and administrative procedures. And so really having some dedicated time to sit down and dig in deep to that is really important. And then always looking to, for continuous improvement. It's an opportunity to follow the self-assessment and guide our growth as a board. So the goal of holding the retreat will be to reflect on our top core functions, and I will dig deeper into what those are here in just a moment. And then at the retreat, we can also start to discuss how we can strengthen the teamwork and the strategic focus for other retreats in the future, which I think is really important because we do have some new members who are coming on. So we'll want to look to see what that will look like with the new board. And then that will give us an opportunity to take a look at the WASDA online self-assessment tool. It's really in-depth, but it is free. And so as I dug through it, it had a lot of really great tools for the board to use. What we would hope to accomplish would be taking some time to just go over board roles and responsibilities. And then like any good self-reflection, talking about both our strengths and our areas of opportunity. Hopefully we would be able to decide on a self-assessment process, potentially even before. And then draft 2 or 3 measurable board goals for the 2025-26 school year. And most importantly, anytime you draft goals, you want to have a plan for how you plan to monitor and then celebrate those successes. So those are all things that we would be able to do at a board retreat in kind of that more open forum. The reason that we're asked to do a self-assessment is, again, to identify where we're doing really well. It's helpful to partner with other districts who are looking for strategic partners, identify our gaps so we can work on those, and then our areas for improvement. And again, the WASDA tool is just one option that we would have. It's free and it's research-based. And then WASDA collects all that data and puts together a really nice report, which would help us kind of see where we stand in comparison and possibly reach out to some peers who may be doing better in areas than we are, or you know, be available as a resource for peers where we have areas of strength that they're working on as well. And then these are the core functions as a board that are part of the self-assessment, vision and direction. So we might want to start thinking about our district mission and vision statement and deciding if that's something we want to revisit. Because if we do decide to do that, there would be a lot of public input that would be necessary. So just kind of putting that thought out there. We would look at our ability to for policy and governance, our financial oversight, how well you hire a superintendent. I think you guys are exceptional at that. Student success and equity, and then community engagement. And so we could identify a couple of those areas that we wanted to build goals around and continue to improve upon. And then the retreat specifically, why it's different than just having a meeting, is it's a little bit more laid back and casual. It gives us that chance to really revisit the mission and weave it into everything that we're doing in the moment. It's a discussion without the time limits. It's not always so late in the evening. If the board wants to do it on a weekend or something like that, when we're drinking coffee and eating muffins, that might be more pleasurable. And then just really strengthening the teamwork, because this is a really difficult task that you all have volunteering to take on. And so want to make sure that we're supporting that in any way possible. So some things that we are going to want to consider is that date. So just a reminder that we would want to avoid conflicts with major school events and holidays. And ask that we have enough lead time for preparation so that I can have whatever the board would like to focus on first prepared. And then decide where we want it, and then finding a time when everyone can attend. So the action items that I'd like us to leave with today are just to start looking at your calendar. Consider your availability and start to think about where you would like to have the retreat. And then I'm gonna send this presentation out. Well, you already have it, but I will send it out again via email so that you have those core functions to start kind of getting your own thoughts around where our strengths lie, where you might like to see us focus on growing. And then coming prepared to kind of use the retreat to strengthen those areas. So that's kind of the action item for tonight. We don't actually need to do anything, but start to think about it. So here's a great quote by Peter Drucker. I don't know, I just found the quote. I really don't even know who he is. But the best way to predict the future is to create it. When I was looking up inspirational quotes, I thought that was pretty cool. And then the question that I hope we will leave with today, at least contemplating, is how can we make this retreat the most valuable day of the year for our board? So what will it take to help us drive the mission? So that's just a quick.
So do you envision that the retreat might be 2 different days, or the agenda for the retreat would start with doing the self-assessment online, or that's something we would do online on our own, or?
So we definitely have several different options on the way we can do it. We can get started online on our own. We can get together and kind of discuss it so we feel more confident in giving the self-assessment where we're all looking at the things the same way. It's really whatever is the comfort level of the board, right? So I think it's important when you're evaluating that you're all evaluating with the same definition of terms. And not necessarily knowing how long it's been since we've had a retreat or where we all stand on kind of some of our knowledge and comfort level around the core functions. It may be beneficial to get together prior and review it so that when we do go into the self-assessment, we're at least aligned with what we believe the items on the assessment mean.
I kind of like the idea of doing it together, because when we did the assessment of Kelly, it was things you weren't quite sure what the definition meant, things that maybe didn't apply to us, and so it made it real hard with each of us doing it on our own to have a fair evaluation. So I think maybe that's a good point.
I also feel like we're really fortunate in the wide breadth of knowledge that the board has. We have a lot of members and oncoming members with different skill sets that can kind of create a dialogue around some of these areas and ask really important questions to ensure that our self-reflection kind of digs in a little bit. I mean, it's a pretty extensive process, and it asks to do a lot of things that don't quite get into the minutia, but it does get pretty detailed. And so I think that possibly having each other to bounce ideas and thoughts and questions off of before we finalize the rating might help us get a more accurate picture of where we're at and help drive the work.
What are people's thoughts as far as location? It seems to me it'd be nice to do it somewhere else, but it's also like for transparency, if somebody wants to come and be there, it should be within a reasonable distance.
Right, because the public could come watch,
They could,
yes, so.
Yeah, we're not like going to Vegas.
right?
It-
Well, or Seattle.
Hawaii would be better.
Yeah, and we don't really have, a local business that would give us a conference room free right in our own district.
Sure.
I mean, the fish lab might have one, but I don't think they have it anymore. I think they turned it into offices or something.
Well, do you wanna do this prior to cause you got 2 people that are gonna change hands.
We talked about doing it after the new election.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay, so
And the
this
last-
is after.
That's what we were talking about at the last meeting, but if we.
Yeah, I wasn't here.
But the self-assessment part, we might wanna try to do. to see how we like the self-assessment and if we wanna do the whole thing and. Cause we would want to have Keith and Diane there for that, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think even if we did it with the new members when they come on board, it would be.
Well, you're only 3 months away from
Yeah.
having 2 new members,
Right.
so.
But I think, you know, as we talk about the self-assessment and those things. Actually, you brought that up last meeting that. Diane Keith would be valuable and useful to, if you guys want to be there. To
Yeah.
come-
Yes.
At least,
But keep
at least
Diane
talk
on
about the
board.
self-assessment backward looking stuff.
Right.
Which means, I mean, once the election is certified. You're a member of the board, but normally that's not prior to the December meeting, but
Right.
Yeah.
you can still attend the retreat.
If come to retreat as a member of the public, as a very knowledgeable member of the public. Serve on the board.
Couple, if I could, Anita, I don't wanna speak out of turn, but. Yeah, that's what would occur to me is like, I think it'd be great to have the exiting members if they would want to participate to do it, but. And
Yes.
maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it could be everybody. I was curious about the open public meeting part, cause like, I think it has to be an
Yeah,
open public meeting, right,
Right.
which,
We have to publish the location.
yeah, okay,
But like, if we didn't wanna have it in the library,
right.
like, right, like, it is an option to,
get a room.
not
somewhere.
saying that we need to, but like, if we wanted to do it during the day. Or mid-afternoon, this might not. Be available, depends on if, evenings are still best, or. Right, if we wanted to do like a daytime thing, then we would maybe need to consider a different location. If the board's most comfortable having it where we have all of our meetings, and that just might be another consideration to have around. When we would and wouldn't be able to schedule
Yeah,
it.
I think there's some value in like. Especially if we're trying to like. Adopt a different mindset and. Come back to maybe some value for a retreat in having a change of venue, a change of scenery.
Yeah, so it would be advertised as a workshop, special meeting,
Retreat.
thing, and public is totally invited to come and observe and. And we could have public comment if we chose, but you don't necessarily have to have it at a
No.
workshop, but it might be a good idea.
But if you. Had it here, would not the community feel more. Included, other more apt to be joining in,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, it wouldn't wanna be
And-
far from here.
yeah, but, and then maybe. Not on a weekday, like I said, weekend.
Well, and that's always a
Somewhere else.
problem, evenings or daytime or early evenings or
Right.
late evenings, but
Yeah,
We could, we could feel free to use my house, like we did one thing up there and happy to do that if that made sense, but again, yeah, I think to Diane's point, good one, like. I think it should be, I mean. Obviously, it needs to be open to the public, I think it should be, and if having it here. Makes that more welcoming of the public, then. Maybe it's here, but
Sure.
yeah, I get it, probably a scheduling issue too with activities in the library.
So, yeah, but like if a weekend works for. All the members, then like that might give us more flexibility in the time, instead of going so late into the evening when people might be getting tired.
yeah.
so, can we have food in here?
I took the sign down, you've got. we
I
can have
took
food
the
in
sign
here.
down.
I took it down a few times, Tim
And
just
I-
kept putting it back
I
up.
say, and then I hid it
Because
from Tim.
There we go, that's what happened.
It
Yes,
looks
we can
like
have food.
Tim's got a good job of getting some stains out.
No,
Yeah.
Oh, they're still here. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they're covered.
Oh, okay.
Or they're, yeah,
And just saying, where do the stains come out?
we're gonna work on that though.
You can definitely. Eat. And drink sodas apparently,
And coffee, and tea,
Mm-hmm.
all the time. We
we
do.
got a lot of coffee in here.
We're gonna have food in here on Wednesday.
So how do people feel about, dates and maybe doing. 2 sessions, starting with. Learning about the self-assessment option, how,
So what month are we feeling like? Probably wanting to do it. Keith, what do you? You're
Keith,
smiling, so
Well,
you get to go first.
January, I'm gonna try to be spending a lot of time in Nevada. Nevada's a little warmer than here. See, Texas is warmer, New Mexico is warmer, San Diego is pretty nice. So I can run up here pretty much in a weekend. My new job is I could try to run the I-5 corridor, so I can run in here pretty much any time.
Was
Winter,
the-
I'll probably just take off and just go home and put my feet up and keep going.
Is the. Are we leaning towards waiting until after the new board members are seated, but having Keith and Diane join us, or
I
are we?
think that would make sense. And I think like obviously December's not.
Yeah,
very
so
good.
it's basically.
Yeah.
So like, so we're talking January,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
later January, would make sense.
So January to February.
Yes.
And then what's our comfortable with weekends?
I'm open, in January, really, we are going to Vegas sometime in January. So, but you can let me know here pretty soon, because I'm supposed to make reservations for January.
Weekends?
I kind
I'm
of,
not necessarily opposed to later, like January or February, I could, I'm sure make something work. I'm also not opposed to just doing it sooner, like, I don't know if there's some value in having the members seated, I don't think it matters though
Yeah,
necessarily.
that should.
So like, October could
yeah,
work for
because
me,
since you're unopposed, it really doesn't make any difference.
yeah,
Okay,
so.
And if there's no decision making,
okay, so what if we did one in late October? And then maybe schedule a follow-up in January.
So in October, is there any way we can make it, okay, so these meetings are on Mondays, can we make it on the Sunday prior to this meeting? That way, when I take off work, I'm only taking off one weekend versus 2 weekends. You
That would be,
know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, that we would just wanna give everyone a chance to check the calendar, but that seems like a pretty good idea.
Because on the weekend that, when the Monday's rolling around for this meeting, I'm just coming home Thursday or Friday anyway, so I'm home for the weekend.
I'd
So
have to look.
that would be October 19th.
Okay, perfect, right after my birthday.
So I will,
The Sunday,
oh, yeah, sorry, so the 18th would be a Saturday.
Either one, it's good with me.
So 18th or 19th. And then another one in January.
yeah, and then we could.
We
We could
could
also probably cover,
calendar-
we could also probably cover a lot of the backward looking stuff for the existing members
Yes.
in October, so then if you didn't wanna come to January, it wouldn't be as necessary, yeah.
And we
Well,
could
if you're doing
possibly
2
do
meetings,
either-
all I'm after it's October, because January, I'm not on the board,
Right,
I'll
exactly.
show up Monday.
And
Right.
January, speaking of January, remember, we do need to reschedule our January and our February board meetings because they fall on a holiday.
yeah, so we'll do that at our December meeting, I guess. Make sure we take care of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at my schedule.
Is it
So,
the following day or?
now wait, put,
It's in October 18th.
October 18th,
no, but you're talking about.
but we
the
wouldn't be
days?
able to do the same thing in January. I mean, we could do it on the Saturday before
No,
what
I
is
was
supposed to
talking
be.
about changing the,
January and February both fall on a holiday, our Monday meeting date. Every year that happens.
okay, but it is marked on this calendar on the 17th, on a Tuesday. On the calendar.
Well, that's what,
That
For
is
February?
historically what we've done. We just.
yeah,
need to
so our
confirm it.
policy says it'll be the next day. But we can set it anytime we want.
We can't, yeah,
No, I mean, it's already set on this calendar.
correct.
As on Tuesday.
But
Yeah,
we-
and
we-
that's just because that's the way our policy directs it. But if we wanted to have something
If
special.
you wanna do it on the 10th, we could.
Yes,
We can
if
do
we
the 10th.
decide
Oh.
between now and then that we would like to adjust that. We can, we just always mark it that way because Monday is a holiday, so it will
But-
not be on that Monday.
But doesn't that hinder, your accounts payable, your.
There's a very fine window. But like
That
this year,
is-
we had, there were, I can't remember if it was January, or February, but multiple directors had a conflict. And so the date got moved, there was
Yeah,
like
and
a,
that's, it's that I have planning commission the third
Tuesday.
Tuesday of each
Mhm.
month. So when we have to move it,
So
under policy, I can't attend, and
So-
so
Oh,
we
I
have
see.
modified that, yeah.
can we
Oh,
come back
it's- Okay,
and verify everything for our September meeting? You know, for schedule on these meetings, and that October 18th will work. And set that in our September.
Yeah, this is for us to think out and bring ideas back so that, Kelly brought that up just because if in January, if we wanted to schedule it like we are thinking about doing October, it wouldn't work because of the holiday. And
But I think, like Keith was saying, the main reason to do it the same weekend is because he's taking the weekend off to be here,
Yeah,
and he would be
right.
coming to the January one, so we don't have that same reason.
Yeah,
so we can look at the January dates at the October retreat. Like, we don't need to schedule them both, but if.
Right.
If we wanna we'll pencil the 18th of October for retreat one and.
And then write it in pen next month.
And then we'll write it in the next one, after y'all check your calendars. And we will plan on looking at the assessment tool and those core. Functions in October.
Okay.
And then that will help us determine what steps we need to take in January. And, that might help you better plan if it's something that you would like to make sure you can attend, or if you feel confident just handing it off.
No, January is easy.
Okay.
January is not an issue.
yeah, so Joan and John, let us know if that October date doesn't work.
I think I can make it work, yeah.
Great.
That's why these first couple of months of this, or last couple of months of this year is important to me, because I'm trying to make enough money to where January comes, I go home and just sit and stay warm. Cause who wants to haul stuff on the road in January?
so. We've got a date, are we talking about time of day?
No, we haven't talked about that. What do you suggest?
I'm just saying is, that might be a conflict for some people.
No
It
early
doesn't matter to
mornings.
me, I mean, yeah, so
6 a.m.
I'll be there.
I amend my statement. I do have a conflict. I'm still in bed.
6:30, all season.
Fine, yeah, 6:15, Diane. We will show you some.
I might be a little late.
It might be nice to get together like mid to late morning
Like 10 AM.
and then have a lunch break.
Okay,
Plan on scheduling like,
How long are you thinking, like 10 to
half
2, or?
I was thinking maybe 10 to 2, 10 to 2:30 with a lunch break.
Yeah.
We can get
sounds reasonable.
some lunch delivered.
Yeah, I think that, if we do it that way, then that gives everybody the rest of the day and the evening to do their own family things.
Mhm.
Sure.
All right, we'll start getting that put together.
Well, I appreciate Kelly putting together that PowerPoint. That's very, very nice. Help us get rolling on that.
Let's see here. Okay, so the rest of what I have to say. Let me grab my notes. So hopefully everyone got a chance to read the September monthly newsletter. That is the one that goes out to families. And then the weekly newsletter is the one that goes out to staff. Thankfully, I have my weekly newsletter Hawk, who always lets me know when my links aren't working, so they're fixed now. Greatly appreciate it. But you can see the plan for this week. Staff comes back on Wednesday. We've got kind of like a housekeeping meeting Wednesday morning, quite a bit of training over the week. We've got our curriculum associates representative coming out on Thursday to do training with Mill A school employees to roll out the reading Friday is the PCIA orientation and the K2 teacher meet and greet. Kellyanne, is excited to get to meet all of her families, but, so instead of just having like a kindergarten, because she's new to the classroom, we opened it up for all of the students in K2, so that's really exciting. You might have noticed, if you did have a chance to peruse the weekly newsletter, there are quite a few handbooks that I've asked staff to try to look through. Over the summer, Amy and I went through both student handbooks and really tried to make sure that they were updated and reflective of our current practices. We built a robust volunteer handbook, and we have an employee manual that is still being listed as a draft because we haven't gone through it with the union yet. But it should really give everyone some clear guidance on kind of what we're hoping to achieve around here. School picture day is already scheduled, and we have back to school night coming on September 24th. So those are some of the big calendar things. We also are going to roll out PBIS this year, which is positive behavior intervention supports. And so you'll see things like September's character trait of the month is kindness. So district-wide, we'll be doing initiatives around kindness. We'll be doing our assembly around kindness. We'll be doing rewards around kindness. And then October is responsibility. It's also Disability History Month. So we'll be weaving those two things into everything we do. And we've got some really great things planned here in the library as well to showcase different books around the character trait of the month. I think it'll be really engaging for students K through 12 and for staff, and it'll give us a way to recognize students and catch them doing it right. So really excited to be rolling out PBIS. Let's see. Over the summer, Lisa and I attended a safety summit, which was very informative. It was actually a really challenging day. I chose 3 very difficult topics. I did the first breakout on internet safety, and it was led by the Department of Homeland Security. And so it took a deep dive into the vulnerabilities of students online and the dangers that come along with being a child and making bad decisions about people you meet online. So that was a rough one. And then I followed that up by doing threat assessment refresher, which was also not exactly the favorite thing about my job, to talk about the threats that we face as schools, but it was very important information. And I ended my day with the adolescent brain development and trauma. So I did go home and have a very large glass of grape juice and go to bed early. It was very informative. Lisa took breakout sessions on harassment, intimidation, and bullying, which is really great because she's been partnering closely with Amy on a lot of our good work, communicating through crisis, and then the Red Cross partnership, because she's an active member of the safety committee. So I will not bore you with some of the things that we learned, but it was very informative and it was time well spent. We do have a lockbox on the front for the front door key. So that has moved forward and mostly been resolved. I will double check to make sure that the code was delivered, but that is all set. And then I'm also really excited to share with you that we, as you know, we had to work through the transition of our IT services, moving them from having a system administrator position in-house to contracting with the ESD. We are now contracted with ESD for system administrator level work. And Mr. Dyer will be staying with us as an IT tech support assistant. He'll be in-house 1 day a week. and will report directly to Vice Principal Lomax. He'll be handling kind of the boots on the ground things and partnering with the ESD. I've been working with Curtis from ESD. He's already been out here a couple of days. He's really excited to have the opportunity to work with Mill A. They're really excited to have Doug on the ground for those things that need to happen in the moment. And so I really appreciate how the process unfolded, and I believe that we reached a pretty solid resolution that will allow for the district to be in the best care possible. So there is a approval of a classified contract for you guys to approve this evening. And I think that's it, so I can answer questions.
Was Doug gonna help with recess too?
No, he is just gonna take it's 3 hours per week as an IT tech assistant position. So he'll be doing technology work, and we have a para educator position posted for the position that Katie left to take on the special education role. So if you know anyone looking for a 15-hour-a-week para educator job, we're hiring.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't been getting some responses on that.
Be happy to answer any questions about anything that's going on in the district, but that is pretty much it. A lot going on this week. It's gonna be a very, very exciting week.
I have a question. Does the fire department have access to the lockbox?
We will,
Yes,
we will.
we will, okay.
It's a code,
Okay,
so we just have to make sure that the right people have the code.
okay, good.
It's like what a realtor box, the key, and you just punch in the code and the key will come out.
Just so that they can get in if need be.
Any questions for Kelly? I just wanted to bring up one thing. Is there something the board can do at back to school night that would help the public, access board members if they have any questions or anything, just besides be sure you wear your tag?
A board member don't take.
Yeah, board member don't take. Thanks for
For the
volunteering.
board chair. I meant board chair don't take.
Yep. Director Lundby amends his statement.
Yes.
I think that could be a good fundraiser for the Booster Club.
I always love being in the dunk tank. It's
Yeah.
actually really fun.
There you go, look at that.
Mhm.
But besides wearing our name tag and welcoming people, and if you come up with some kind of idea,
What day is
I,
that?
pardon?
What day?
the 24th.
It's the 24th of September, back to school night.
The PTO has not confirmed if they're gonna do ice cream that night or not. But I imagine if that happens, helping serve ice cream might be a really great option.
I could serve ice cream. Sure.
What is the 24th? Is that a?
It's a
It's a Wednesday, I
Wednesday.
believe. I almost always do it on a Wednesday.
It's back to school, but they'll already be back in school for a month.
Yeah, so it gives,
Show off
it
their
gives, yeah.
stuff.
it gives the teachers a chance to showcase some of the student work as opposed to just coming in and seeing the classroom. This way students have, done some art, some artifacts.
Yeah.
They can come see where their students sit. They can talk a little bit about the curriculum. It's also, back to school night is used for, the annual, Title I information. So they'll have access to information on our curriculum, our Title I program, things like that. And so it makes it a little bit more robust.
I have another question. The Thursday, this Thursday, when somebody comes in and teaches how to teach. Right?
Oh, yeah, the professional development around our new curriculum, yes.
Is that open to other people besides teachers?
It is one-on-one with the teachers, so so we pay, part of the purchase of the curriculum is professional development.
And so the company comes out and will be working individually with the teachers because of our unique circumstance of being a blended classroom. So we will have our K-1-2 teacher and our para interventionist working directly with the curriculum associates trainer to learn and develop a plan to roll out the reading in K-1-2, and then they'll work with Miss B and 3-5, and then we will all get together and have a discourse around math. It is something that is specifically designed for the educators to use that time to prepare for the school year.
Okay.
But we do have our coffee and tea chats starting right away. So public who are interested in learning about the curriculum and don't want to wait for back to school night. I mean, I'm always available. I try to make myself available anytime a parent wants to meet, but specifically the coffee chats and the tea talks are a great time for people to just drop in and ask questions about that.
And what are they?
They are,
So the family newsletter, is that on the website?
it's on the website and it's emailed out.
Okay, cause I don't think I get the family one, I just get the other one. Unless I send the family one and think I'm getting the other ones.
It's like on the last page. Sorry, I just have so many tabs open that finding the right one. There we go.
So when she
The-
gets you the time, Joan, they're every month at the same time.
Yeah, so the tea talks are in the afternoon, from 2 to 3, starting on September 25th. And then the coffee chats are in the morning. And they are on the opposite month, and they're from 8:30 to 9:30 AM. And they're all on the public calendar. So if you go to the website calendar, they're all on there the whole year.
Okay, thank you.
No, if you're a tea drinker, can you drink tea at the coffee chat?
Ironically, we have tea and coffee at both of these. I just liked the alliteration of it. And the signs were already made, so we're not judging.
Right.
And the handbooks you mentioned, are they? You know, as final as they're gonna get, or are you still
Yeah,
working
they're-
on some of?
They're
those?
final, they're
Okay.
published, and they've
And
been
they're
sent
all on
out.
the website.
They're on the website.
Yeah, and I.
The employee one is not. The employee one is strictly a draft for
Right,
employees.
for employees, won't be on the website.
It will not publish, no.
Did you have a question, Bill?
Nope.
But yeah, the students, and the volunteer handbooks are all published and available in print. If anyone would like to pick up.
Okay, and do you have a copy of this contract, I could circle around for us to read?
Do. I opened that. I don't know. Sorry, I make this.
Let's take a 5-minute break. I'd like to use the restroom, is that okay with everyone? All right, Kelly will get the contract.
Charlie's already gone.
I got a question about Doug.
This,
Contract. There's no provisions or any inside or anything on, emergency, you need him for another hour or him staying late or anything like that. So, you know, are you just not gonna use him or,
So,
see what I'm saying?
yeah, so Doug is, and I've agreed that he is available in an emergency if we need to call him in for
Okay, good.
extra hours. And also that I'm not guaranteeing any above the contract.
Right, okay. Well, that way you're not in a bind.
No.
just pass this around, it's pretty
You don't
short.
worry yourself.
We already looked at it. Oh, we already looked at it, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Eric had it first,
Right,
so.
we have, yeah, there are also the ESD, should there be an emergency, will drive out immediately.
Okay.
And they will, if necessary, take someone who's at a different location and in the board already and bring them up. So we've increased our ability to have someone in the building in the event of an urgent
Okay.
situation.
Okay, let's get back in session at 7:13. I guess we already were, did you start okay. So the discussion that just took place, we had recorded, okay, so we'll back up being in session by a few minutes there to ensure that
So we should
these
find-
questions were answered as part of our
Yeah.
meeting. Okay, so
I guess it was in the campus.
is there anything else on superintendent report? Then we're on to the approval of the employment contract, the classified employment contract. Everyone had a chance to take a look at it. Are there any other questions on that? Okay, is there a motion to approve?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve. On that, as read.
Moved and seconded to approve the 25-26 employment contract for Doug Dyer. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, thank you very much. It'll go into our signature thing there. Let's go on to policies. As you see, we have quite a list of first reading policies. I think that Kelly's probably gonna say a few things. Was just going through their
August newsletter was
updates.
jam-packed. So the first one, they should be, I'll get them in order. The first one should be policy adoption manuals and administrative procedures, policy number 1310. Some minor additions to the policy.
Okay.
I also included in your packet this time is a printout on administrative procedures, just to kind of go along with this. So as you can see, the policy says that anytime a new procedure is written, it should be presented. We've been doing that, but I also went ahead and dated all of the procedures that have been updated just so that you would have them. That's not necessarily something that we'll discuss, but I just want to make sure you had that.
So where's that at?
Yeah.
To the back.
Behind, there's a,
Oh, I see,
Yeah.
okay, okay, got it.
so all the
Thank you.
procedures
Oh, okay.
are behind there that have been updated over the last year. The ones that have been brought to the board are any that were new as per the policy. But when an administrative procedure is amended, especially if it's a minor amendment, it doesn't necessarily need to come to the board, but I have heard that the board would like that. And so in your board binder moving forward, amended procedures will also be included. They just won't be on the agenda because they're not really a board discussion unless there's the potential for
Yeah, I think what the board,
need for support.
Eric can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the board has been acknowledging that they've been done and we've seen them.
Yeah, I think typically, especially when they're together, we've acknowledged receipt of procedures
Yeah.
and that's all we've done.
Yeah, so
And
I,
unless there was something that was like hot button or.
exactly,
Then we
right.
got involved, yeah.
So the board, like, as the policy says, and then in the back, you're kind of off-white, yellowish page. The board's responsibility is to set the policy, and then my responsibility is to have the administrative procedure. So if there is like you said, a hot button or potentially controversial or something that I feel like would be really important to get direct insight before the policy or the procedure is written, that would come to the board automatically. But anything that is an existing procedure that has an amendment typically wouldn't necessarily need to, but I will start including them in the back so that you will have access to the ones that are even amended. So you have a pretty thick packet today. It won't always look like that because that's several months worth. But as far as the first reading of 1310, the only change to our board policy is the addition of that policy interpretation paragraph in there.
And I have a comment on that one, and maybe it's in here and I just didn't quite read it, but. And we've modified our agenda so that we're doing this, but we do have the obligation. Of where it says here that talking about the board adoption of policy. That we shall include in our notice, which is our agenda. That sets forth reasonably describes the proposed policy. So we have to make sure that we not only have the title, but at some point, sometimes we may want a further sentence of description. So we need to make sure that we're implementing this RCW. And to ensure that the public is well aware of the policies that we're considering.
All policies that are up for first or second reads are available on the website, the red line version.
Right, but I mean, on our agenda, so the agenda needs to show. Before adopting a policy, the school district board of directors shall comply with the notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act. And shall in addition include that notice a statement that sets forth or reasonably describes the proposed policy. So if we had, right now, we've been including the titles, which are pretty self-explanatory. But if we feel there's a title that isn't self-explanatory, that we want to make sure that the public is aware of what the board's going to be considered. And so we may want to further describe the proposed policy. So I just wanted to make sure that that is iterated in this policy here. This policy here does not reference this obligation under this RCW. So I thought I would bring that up so that it can be considered. And that's new since the last time we did this policy. So I could give you that copy if you want.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that is covered in, a policy that addresses
The agenda.
these public meetings as opposed to policy adoption itself, the manuals and the administrative procedures. I believe this policy is more directed at the creation and adoption
Versus the approval
versus
process.
the publication and approval process. So
Okay.
that
So we might
be
have something else that has the approval process in it.
correct.
Okay, that's what this is about, is the public's involvement in the approval process. So great, thank you very much.
And it's great that we have the
It's
version
really-
online now as well, so that.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's so visible now. They could easily find it. You don't have to hunt through various pages,
Yeah,
I
they're-
think, anyway.
They're linked directly on the board agenda. So
Mhm,
there's, yeah.
Well, on the next one, 3143, I have a comment. A question, so it's the bottom of page 1, it's talking about a notification, blah, 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 and it's talking about all this information. But there's a sentence there that doesn't make sense. It says, student discipline, if any, shall be consistent with 3241, but. In reality, we're not doing any student discipline. This is informing us of information that comes from somewhere else. And we wouldn't exercise discipline as a result of this information that comes to us, so I think that just should be taken out. Because the courts will send us this information. And, or other districts send us information. And we're not gonna exercise student discipline based on the information we receive. So I think for somehow, I don't know how that got stuck in there.
I believe that if the information leads to an investigation because there's
Something that happened at school or anything like that.
information that it is a school involved situation, that we're just calling out the fact that we're aware we will be consistent with our student discipline policy, that this doesn't fall outside of that.
The district will take appropriate precautionary measures when it receives notices of information of student offenses from any of these other sources. So these aren't offenses here.
Well, the sheriff's department could find out about an offense here, notify us, and that could result in discipline.
But
Like, if
But
it's
this is just. If that's what it is, it should have a separate paragraph and kind of explain that. It just, I mean, if a stranger reads that, they're going, well, you're gonna initiate discipline based on. Information that comes from the court or somewhere else.
I believe it refers directly to the student discipline policy to ensure that we're following. The policy around how we would discipline and when we do provide discipline. So for example, if a student were to be caught trespassing, and vandalizing school property, they could potentially be caught by a non-school employee. And then that would be reported to us, which then could possibly result in discipline. We would have to follow the student discipline policy. So we may not discover it ourselves. Someone may be reporting it to us. We just want to be clear that we would follow our policy. But we can look at,
Don't you have to read 3241 to figure out exactly what it says?
correct. It's very common for one policy to refer to another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause it's also, the same thing is listed on page. The notification of threat of violence or harm,
Mhm.
and it says the district may use information about a threat of harm or violence in connection with student discipline, consistent with policy 3241.
And there are provisions within the harassment, intimidation, and bullying realm or cyberbullying that we may be made aware of from an outside party that would result in student discipline. So that's. an
So that's a
example of that.
better sentence to use there. I like the sentence that they have there, and we may. Make, a second paragraph, a separate paragraph with that in it. Under the first one too, but.
But it
something
makes,
we
it
can
makes
consider.
sense when you.
Yeah, cause this one's well written.
No, I mean,
This-
this one makes sense. I don't.
I don't see the objection.
Tells you about where you might receive notices and information about student offenders, list them. And then it says student, and if any student discipline is going to be done, you have to refer to this other policy.
I think a lot is assumed, like to me it was intuitive, but a lot is assumed by the if any. Like to me, the if any means
Yeah.
where appropriate.
Where, yeah, right.
Not sure how we would ever accommodate. Number 4, assignment of student offenders to certain classrooms.
I think that may be more applicable at the secondary level than the primary,
Yeah, but
but
sure, but even
even
so,
still, it would be very problematic.
when the activity is directed towards a teacher, shall not be assigned to that teacher's classroom for the duration of the student's attendance at the school or any other school where the teacher is assigned.
Yeah. Surprised they'd be, to win the classroom, but.
Mhm.
assault, kidnapping, literary trafficking, harassment when directed towards another student may be removed from the classroom. Huh, that's interesting. When it's a teacher, they shall be removed from that teacher's classroom, but when it's a student, they may be.
Maybe.
Yeah, and that goes back to both parties' rights to a free public education. Student on student is can be very challenging.
Sure. That would be a challenge to put a student in a different teacher's classroom.
I do believe that would be one of those times when we would be able to revoke a choice transfer within the acceptable reasons.
Mhm.
Are we moving through all of them or?
Yeah, we could, I mean, this is our first reading, and if you
Yeah.
have things you'd like to bring up for everyone to look at and consider, and in case it, want to carry those comments on to a second reading.
We're ready to move on to the next policy. Be happy to go over this. Policy 3210, non-discrimination, they just added some additional categories in the definition of protected status. With ethnicity, and then homelessness, immigration or citizenship status, and neurodivergence. And so those are just the changes that you see in both areas. So our comprehensive non-discrimination statement will be updated as well to include those categories.
So we removed the students may access some communication devices during instructional time when an educator expressly allows.
On to policy 3245.
Yeah.
So, yes, we will be, my hope is that, we will adopt this policy. And students will not be accessing their cell phones during instructional time. There's really no need.
Okay.
They're all issued a computer. I mean, it would have to be a pretty rare instance where only the phone could do it versus the computer, and there's so much research. And behind the fact that it is disruptive to the learning environment and that it is damaging and that it is a huge factor in cyberbullying and other things that are disruptive to learning.
Are teachers currently allowing it?
It
Because we
is
have that.
inconsistently applied.
Yeah, we started it
And-
last year.
Any inconsistency in something like this can have pretty negative effects. And so I think that just simply having them off during the day is the best way to proceed. We're one-to-one electronic devices now from K-12. So every electronic means of learning we're giving to the students directly through a district issued device. I mean, I can see this being more challenging for parents than it is for the kids, actually. It also is strongly impacting our attendance. We have students who just text their parents that they're not feeling well and they get picked up in the middle of the day, which resulted in some pretty significant absenteeism and some really lowered academic outcomes for students, as opposed to needing to check in through the office and having adults communicate about what was going on. We don't have the ability to let parents know that their child is consistently sick during a class when they have a presentation due, and it's now 6 weeks behind because they have strategically gone home on that day.
Okay.
There's been a very heavy impact from cell phone use.
So it'll be lunch break, if not that.
Yes.
No, I think,
Yeah.
I just remember, I think it was tech, wanted to have the ability to have it for a very small amount of stuff that he was doing.
And I think, and I don't think any of it is going to completely stop learning from it. There's nothing that
Sure.
we're learning will stop. I don't wanna move to where like we're asking students to put them in a locked bag. I think that becomes a safety issue. I think that if we tell students they're not allowed to have a cell phone in their backpack and there was an incident, then we would be setting ourselves up to be in a really bad situation. But I do believe that they should be turned off and put away all day long, except during lunch. The next one, 4130, Title I, parent and family engagement. Really, it was just adding part A. And then some of the red line strike is things that belong in the procedure, not the policy.
Do you think we should define Title I?
Like in
Yeah, just some. Well, if a parent picks this up, they can go, okay, Title I programs, I know what those programs are.
I think that this, in a very long way, is doing. It is speaking to what it covers. Title I is, part A is really about supporting schools with a higher percentage of free or reduced lunch. It's additional federal funding based on socioeconomic status. I think it would be really hard to define it succinctly and maintain an accurate and current definition depending on what happens with those dollars.
There are too many situations that you couldn't define, yeah.
And we do have, as you can see, there are a lot of times throughout the year that we provide information to families. It goes home in the welcome packet. It'll be spoken about at back to school night.
Yeah, I noticed on page 3, gotta convene an annual meeting.
That's back to school. And that's how I think you would find most schools do that. And then the next one, 4260, again, it's just adding some additional protected classes.
So what if an individual wants to use school facility for a family reunion or something like that?
That'd be fine.
Cause it talks about organizations. But it never mentions a person.
Yeah, I had to read it a couple of times before I was like. I remember having that same thought, there's nothing that would prevent an organization of one.
Yes. Except the definition of organization, I guess, but. But, you know, you establish the rate for government agencies or school or child related groups or nonprofit groups and commercial enterprises, but nothing about. Just the average Joe. Or Jill.
And then the last policy has very minor changes, the launches.
And the need for all the background checks and stuff like that are in procedures under volunteers.
Like the justification for it,
Right,
or?
yeah, that, all this employment stuff,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
That is all the policy system.
So I think in the use of school facilities meeting,
Yeah,
it talks about, the public is encouraged to use it. The superintendent will create a procedure. And then it goes in and does some other things about groups. So it doesn't prohibit individuals, they're included the public. and
no, I didn't think it prohibited it, I just was,
I
didn't think it was
took me a
very
couple of
clear.
times too, just to make sure that it wasn't prohibitive. But it doesn't directly call it out, so.
No, it just, there's just rules surrounding certain types of groups.
Well, they're rate settings, so it talks about rate settings for these
Yeah.
groups down below, yeah.
How do you handle, just back on tech? Sorry, I went backwards. How do you handle watches?
How do you handle what?
Well, if it is some of the proctored exams, they do have to be removed, turned off and put in backpacks, but as far as just like in a classroom. They're
Allowed.
allowed.
So they can
And
text from their watch.
I would hope that we would start to notice that.
That's really. hard.
It's a lot harder to text from your watch when you're supposed to be engaged in something else than it is to get off task when you're allowed to be on your phone.
Okay.
Right? I mean, I am absolutely amazed by how well kids can text in their pocket. Woo! They can send a text message with their phone in their pocket. I don't know how that's possible, but they can, versus. Like, right, I mean,
Yeah, you can have your predefined, like, Mom, I'm sick. Oh.
yeah, I mean, I sent Carrie a kissing emoji during the meeting already, so like. It is definitely easier
I
to
can't
do from
even
your
find how to
watch,
get to the emojis.
but.
Sure.
It is, I think, less disruptive,
And glasses haven't showed up yet.
and glasses have.
Kids just don't have them, they're there,
I'm saying they haven't shown up in class.
yeah.
They can even get a prescription for
I know that was a lot of policies, but all of those were in the August, WASDA update.
All right, well, we went through every one of those, so when we come back from the second reading, take a look at these. Review the comments we heard and see if we have any proposals you'd like to make at the second reading.
These are all as proposed by Westwood.
Yeah, in many conversations with, the attorney. On multiple occasions, he has said, do not change the model policy without a really good reason.
Sure.
That is his very strong recommendation.
Yeah.
That you can,
And you would call that out if you were proposing something that was different than the model policy.
and I will. It will be very far and few between that I bring anything that isn't directly a WASDA model policy, because the administrative procedures are really where you individualize.
And WASDA does put out, if anybody's interested, I didn't know if they would be, but there are three kinds of policies: critical policies, important policies, and discretionary policies. If somebody wants this, they're welcome to have it. And Curtis, of course, regardless of what kind of policy we make, a policy is basically our law. And so he is the person who will be defending us. On any policy, regardless of what kind of policy it is. But at the end of each policy, it will say discretionary, critical, or important. I think.
Yeah, and a few of
I
those,
just
you
saw
can
the
see
word
that there was,
essential too.
well, right, and you'll see in a few of
Yeah.
these, priority is now important, the classifications will be changing. I do not intend to go through 6,000 policies and update just the classification, so we'll go ahead and make those changes as the policies come.
So that's how policies are created. I have one more copy if one of our new board members wants that. All right. Let's move on to public comment then. Where's my note taking?
Anita's threatened that if people don't volunteer comments, she's just gonna start calling them people.
Any public comments? All right, let's move on. Old business, new business are good for the order. Does anybody have anything tonight? Did I have anything? I don't think so. No, I think so. I think anything that I had, I already brought up at some other point. Then we have the document signing. So towards the contract and the amendment, and I'll send, these two that way.
And the contract doesn't need a signature.
Oh,
This is not.
oh, yeah,
Found it,
sorry. That's just you.
That's it.
I'll put it back in here though, so it doesn't get lost.
Do we have the executive session?
I don't think we have a reason for executive session, no. We've made the standard on our agenda so that if, an issue comes up, we're certainly able to take advantage of that opportunity.
Steve,
That's
great.
You're
The doctor's signature, aren't you?
And then Anita.
Can't read it?
Sitting behind us.
That one wasn't near.
Diploma of.
Gave self-conscious.
So we printed her.
I have 3.
Let's see, is there?
I know,
The pen we were using though, isn't there?
I don't think so, just beige.
This was just signed by Kelly. Give me his minutes. Oh, that's what it says.
Nice one though. Oh, thank you. Oh, that goes.
Is that?
Got it.
Justin.
I didn't see that. I saw the ASC.
Okay, the last page I'll put on the top.
where it's on,
Thank you. Let's see.
We can do that. So you need the 60.
Okay.
I might have had it in the front of my book, I apologize.
sure.
One page of those.
Yeah. Didn't know either.
Okay, we've got the warrants and the vouchers. The employment contract we don't sign. This is just the form for the voucher we approved. And then 3 minutes from those old meetings that I signed.
Was another one.
No.
The thing you do.
What else, what are we missing?
We got these two down here.
Okay, so, let's see, where's?
There it is.
Oh, I saw it earlier, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Some.
Yeah, there's no-
Did I already do this paper?
Mhm.
No,
It is not.
Are we waiting for Anita to adjourn by Jennifer first?
Sure. Is it next on the agenda? It is next on the agenda.
Anita.
There's contract. Payroll. There's a complete folder. All right, we're on to, document signing is completed, no need for an executive session. Our next board meeting is September 15th, so I guess we're all adjourned by consensus, is that right? Yes. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys have a good evening.